go in, there's gonna be a pop-up window.
You click on transaction, huh?
It's, yeah, when you log in, there's gonna be this pop-up window right here. Yeah, after you go transactions. And it says CAR May 2024 interim form release. California Association of Realtors Forms Library is getting an update. On May 9th, which was just a few days ago, CAR is releasing a new form, the Broker Compensation Advisory. This form was created to help agents have transparent discussions with clients about broker compensation. Trust me, every seller right now, if they've heard the news recently, they've heard that there's some kind of NAR lawsuit and it has to do with commissions, right?
Yeah.
So we just have to be able to articulate what's going on. So there were only two changes, basically, really, there were only two changes. The changes are, in August, the MLS compensation will not be advertised in the MLS. The buyer side commission will not be advertised in the MLS. That's number one. And number two, before a buyer enters the property, they're gonna have to sign a buyer rep agreement. Those are the only two things that change.
Yeah.
Now, why? The question is why? And it's for transparency.
Can the seller say that, let's say I have a house which is
I'm only.
can he say I'm not gonna pay any commission?
So there are so many what ifs. Okay. So let's look at this form real quick. It should answer your question.
Okay, so
Jay, did you click on something?
I haven't done anything. All I did was log in.
Yeah, I did the same and it
So
didn't.
I'm clicking on fact sheet. You didn't get a pop-up?
I did not.
You might, when you logged in before,
Okay,
you might have said,
maybe.
no more, I don't want to see this anymore. Right? So let's just look at this fact sheet. What is this new form that we're talking about? So 4 things to know about this new broker compensation advisory form. In mid-May, so we have it now, CAR will release a new form. This will help agents have transparent discussions with their clients about broker compensation. Keep reading. So the whole reason that we're in this mess is because Missouri has bad contracts. This is the whole reason. Our California contracts have always been amazing. They've always said, here's the total that the seller is paying, and this is how much we're going to be advertising to the buyer's broker. Our contracts have always said that. Also, our contracts have always had in bold writing above the commission area that all commissions are negotiable. We've always had this in California. So I don't want to say we're being penalized for the rest of the country the way their contracts were, but they had to create a national law for everyone, and it's fine. I mean, we've always complied, basically. So, but what maybe wasn't happening enough were conversations about commission, because I think agents naturally don't want to have the commission conversation. I think they try to avoid it. And they're like praying that the listing that the seller doesn't bring it up and just signs, right? So now we're sort of forced to have the dialogue. We have to have the conversation. So what is this form that they added? It's a 1-page form that can be used to explain to your clients how brokers get paid in a real estate transaction. So this is the whole thing. This is to have transparency. How do brokers get paid? Okay. So this form is broken down into 3 sections. Issues for a seller and their agent to consider, issues for a buyer and their agent to consider, and different ways in which the buyer's broker can get paid. Form can be used with both seller and buyer clients and will be bundled, which it is now, with the residential listing agreement and the buyer representation and broker compensation agreement. Okay, there are 2 different listings. It's 2 different listings. So there's a seller listing, which is the residential listing, and there's a buyer listing. When we sign something with a buyer that we're going to be their representative, that's a listing. So we're listing sellers and we're listing buyers. So this form is being attached to both kinds of listings, seller listings and buyer listings. Okay, I'm a listing agent representing a seller. How can I use this? Well, this is automatically bundled. So when sellers list their property for sale, they agree to pay that listing broker when the escrow closes. Now, keep in mind, commissions with a seller are signed by the listing broker. The buyer's broker has nothing to do with my contract with my seller, right? When you guys sign a listing, if it's your listing and I have my own buyer, I have nothing signed with the seller. The only thing that signed with the seller is with you. You signed a contract with the seller. So you signed a listing contract with the seller that says how much commission is being paid to you. I have nothing, right? Now right now, I can look in the MLS and see what you're offering. I'm not gonna be able to do that in the future. Starting August. I'm gonna go on the MLS and I'm not gonna see any number advertised how much I'm making. So I'm gonna have to reach out to the listing broker and say, what are you offering? Right? Okay, so I'm a listing agent representing a seller. So I'll pretend right now we are signing a listing agreement. We are going on a listing agreement and we now have this form. Okay. When sellers list their property for sale through a listing broker, they agree to pay that listing broker when escrow closes. Yes, you are gonna sell a property and the seller is gonna pay you to sell the property, right? Okay. The listing broker's compensation is not set by law. It is negotiable. It's always been negotiable. Various considerations can be factored in, such as broker's expertise and experience. Offering compensation to a buyer's broker is optional, but may lead to a quicker and or more efficient transaction. All right. So the discussion we're having now is commission being offered to a buyer's broker is optional. Now, when I'm sitting with the seller and they're saying, what? I don't have to pay a commission? Is that what you just asked?
Yeah, yes.
I'm gonna say, are you crazy? Do you not want any agents to bring their buyers to your property?
Right.
Right? Of course, we want to offer a commission. That's it. We're using commission as an incentive
Incentive
to
bring the buyer.
agents to bring their buyers. Now, if I want to buy let's think about this logically, rationally. If I want to go buy a property in another area, I'm gonna ask an agent in that area. I'm gonna engage an agent in that area to find properties for me. I'm busy, I'm working. I'm not spending all my time on Zillow or Realtor. I'm not doing that. I have an agent over there. I'm telling my agent exactly what I want, and they're gonna be out there finding property. That's their job. So now, what property is that agent showing? They're gonna show me properties that someone's paying a commission on, obviously, right? So we want to be the seller that's paying a commission because our job is to get every single buyer into the property. Right? That's how you get the most money. You want to find two people that want property and then we get them to bid against each other. If we can get two people, we can get into a bidding war. If we have one person, fine. If we can get two people, that's we want to get everybody bidding on this property. But we want to incentivize agents to bring their clients. All right. I'm a buyer's agent representing a buyer. Okay, so now we have the buyer rep agreement, right? And this is a form in there. So we need to discuss this with our clients. Having a written buyer representation agreement is important as it establishes mutual expectations and helps to avoid misunderstandings. You and your client will need to come to an agreement on how and how much the buyer's broker will be paid. Explain to your client that a seller may, but is not required to, authorize their broker to offer compensation to the buyer's broker. What does that mean? It means that most of the listings that we are going to show our buyers as a buyer's agent, those sellers are going to be offering commission stuff, right? Most will, 99%. What happens to the 1% of the sellers that are not? Those are usually the sellers that are asking way too much money and don't want to pay anyone anything, right? So for those, in those rare instances, do you still want to see them as a buyer? Because it's in those rare instances that if you did want to see them, there might be a situation where you're going to be paying me and not the seller. Right, but that's up to you. Right, I'm happy to show them to you or not show them to you. Obviously, I need to be paid for my time. Right, so I'm happy to show you everything, but of course, I'm going to show you the ones that the sellers are paying me. Right, makes sense? Okay. How do I explain the various ways in which a broker can get compensated? Okay, well, there's three ways. There's three ways that a broker can get compensated. The buyer pays their own broker. That's way number one. So you can pay me and you're responsible for my entire commission. That's way number one. Okay. Number two, the seller pays the buyer's broker. Great, we love that one, right?
Buyer can pay entirely commission 5%. If he likes it, if you like his property, much better, maybe 5%.
Your buyer loves you and
Right.
want to pay your commission, that's absolutely fine.
5%.
Whatever you want, 7%.
Let's say that you got 2.5% will buy it. Is that enough? With the brokerage company accept that? And what do you do? How do you split that with the Keller Williams? If you get 2.5% only from the buyer.
If you're going on a listing appointment and meeting with a seller,
right,
right? You're gonna want money to pay for you.
yes,
And your advertising and marketing
Yes.
time and all that, right?
yes, yes,
And you only get paid if the property sells.
right.
Okay.
So,
So you're not gonna be splitting your 2.5%.
right,
you're
right,
asking-
right.
So, but now your conversation becomes, do you want other agents to bring their buyers?
Right, right.
Okay, now, I suggest as part of our marketing strategy that you offer to buyer's agents also 2.5%.
Right,
This is negotiable. You don't have to agree, but this is my suggestion. I'm here to sell your property.
yeah,
Let's get buyers in.
right.
Right.
Okay,
I mean,
that's-
We have all seen emails that have gone around saying, get this property into escrow before the end of the month, buyer side commission 5%. Right? We see those emails come out. They're not often, but we do.
Oh,
It's as an incentive. If you get an accepted offer before the end of the month, 5% commission to the buyer's agent. It's a marketing.
okay, yeah, right. man.
Okay.
Right.
So what are the three ways that we get paid? The buyer pays their own broker. The seller pays the buyer's broker. Number three, the seller's broker pays the buyer's broker. That's in reality, that's what's happening right now. Because as a listing agent, we are getting a full commission signed and we're splitting it with the cooperating broker. So keep in mind, the only thing right now that's signed when you take a listing is between the seller and the listing broker. When the listing broker advertises in the MLS their commission,
Yes,
they are sharing their commission. The listing broker is the one actually paying the buyer's broker.
yes, yes.
That's what's happening.
Yes, yes.
All right, so just wanted to bring this up because this is a brand new form now. That's in our transactions, so. All right, so when you guys open the residential listing agreement or the buyer broker agreement, it's there. I'm going to be having classes on the buyer agreement. I know that I have one coming up.
Yeah, yeah.
I just want to look at, so KWBH virtuals, our calendar. I have a residential purchase agreement. Here we go, buyer consultation. So there is a class on the 30th that I'll be doing on Thursday that we will be going through the buyer rep agreement in that class. If you want to hear my previous recording from last month on the buyer rep agreement, just email me and I can send you a link to the recording. I'm just gonna put my email address here. It's jjwallack@kw.com, and I can send you a recording of the buyer rep agreement. Now, but nothing's changed with the buyer rep agreement yet. The only thing that has changed is this one additional form. Okay, but
Do you think they're gonna change it?
it will be changed because it's going to be removing for the buyer representation agreement. There's really no reason for that particular form to change. The listing agreement form is going to change. So the listing agreement will no longer say. Actually, not much is really going to change for us.
Yes, so they don't.
Well, it's not really going to change because the seller can still agree to pay the buyer's broker. So
Oh,
there's nothing really going to change.
so they made it blind.
Is we can't advertise the commission in the MLS.
So it'll change because on right now it says like to be advertised in the MLS.
Correct. But they'll probably change the language to say what the benefits of advertising outside the MLS are, right? So nothing, I don't think anything is really gonna change.
It depends on your agreement with the buyer.
I think the whole reason for what's going on is that there was no transparency. And sellers may have not known how much was being offered to buyers, probably not in California, but outside California. Sellers didn't know what the buyer's broker was getting. Now, here's something interesting. Buyers brokers were also upset in other parts of the country that their commission was being negotiated. Cindy, what's up? That's like. Buyers brokers were upset that their commission was being negotiated by listing agents that they have not had good scripts and dialogues. Right? So let's just say you walk into a seller and the seller says, I want to list my property, but I'm only paying 1%. And then the listing agent takes the listing, right? Is that fair to a buyer's agent that that listing agent didn't have a good scripted dialogue with the seller?
Yeah,
When I go into the MLS right now and I see a discount commission being advertised in the MLS, the first thing I think of is that that listing agent did not have good scripted dialogues with the seller. The first thing I think of. Right? Because a good listing agent will justify why it's important to pay a full commission to a buyer's broker.
I wish we had our own set of rule like before in California. We don't need to be bonded by the other states that have no, I mean,
So the
they ruined everything, you know?
it's not that they ruin everything. Now we have transparency, right? So that we've always had it, but now we have to have a conversation about it. That's what's changed. Instead of being able to skip through it and glance over it, now we actually have to talk about it. Which is good for us because we have to now get good at our dialogue around the commission,
Right.
which is fine. It's fine. Yeah, obviously, everything I'm saying to you now is what I'm saying to a seller. You know, why is it important to offer a buyer side commission? Because agents need to be incentivized to bring buyers to your property. That's how you get the most buyers to your property. When I go on a listing appointment, my when I go on a listing appointment, what sets me apart? What's my elevator speed? It's that I'm gonna get more buyers to your property. That, right? How am I doing that? Through marketing, right? And part of my marketing is how much I'm advertising to them to pay commission.
You can explain the cost of marketing and sharing with the other, you know, the cost of the commission is being split. So you realize that the money doesn't go to you. So
Right.
it's spent. So
Yes. So whenever a seller wants to talk about commissions, they need to first understand how the commission
commission is split, yeah.
So I'm gonna focus on. I'm gonna focus more on how important it is to pay a buyer side commission,
Yeah.
right? First, you know, they need to know commissions, first of all, are split. And they don't want to discount the buyer side commission if they want agents to show the property, right? Because agents are going to show the property paying the most commission first. And then the ones that are paying less commission second, third. You're
Yeah.
not supposed to do that, but this is real life. I mean, right? Agents want to make money. Inflation, baby.
Exactly.
Let me just get today's. Here. Today is. Oh, today's negotiate offers. Oh, we love negotiating. My daughter's the best at it. She does not take no for an answer. Everyone has similar experience.
JJ, in general, if a form is updated, do we go around getting updated forms signed from our clients?
Nothing needs to be. So what do you mean?
For example, if I had a listing right now and then they update the listing agreement forms, would I have to get an updated version of that form signed? Along with like if I have
no,
a buyer's rep agreement? Okay.
You're okay right now, no problem. The issue is going to be. The issue is going to be listings that you're going to be taking when the commission is removed from the MLS. It's might be, bless you, there might be something that is going to have to be given to them stating that the commission is no longer being advertised in the MLS.
I see. So there would just be an amendment or something.
Yeah. Not worried about it right this second, but it's definitely coming.
Okay.
Definitely
Thank
coming.
you.
Yeah, good question. Just tracking this error. So Ignite is taught everywhere in Keller Williams. If you are new to Keller Williams, you're gonna go through Ignite. If you are a new agent, go through Ignite. So it's not just for new agents, it's for agents new to Keller Williams also. Basically, it's 20 courses that you can go from start to finish. And if you actually do what's in Ignite, this is the formula to be a successful real estate agent. I was listening to the Nicki Minaj thing yesterday, and it was, JJ, you listen to Nicki Minaj, what? She was there, I don't know which album, I think the Barbie album, I don't know. There was something she said, she was like saying, it was a quick little snippet, just about her success. And she ended it with, I'm successful because I want it the most. So that had an impact on me. I was thinking about it. If you are successful, it's because you want it. And if you're doing the action because you want it the most, that's what's going to make you successful. So do you want it the most? You know, only you can answer that for yourself. But that had an impact on me. I was thinking about that because I know when I really apply myself, it's because I really want it. All right. Who am I? Who am I? So I'm in this business almost 20 years now, 11 years in this office, almost 12. Love real estate. I love, I was thinking to myself like about teaching and, I'm here doing this now. I can't say, I do love what I'm doing. I do. This is, for me, it's a hit in my actual income to put my time here. So you can see in 2023, I was top 1.5% in California based on closed volume, not just Keller Williams, but statewide. But this is what I love to do. So I really do love what I'm doing by helping you guys. But it is a does have a financial impact on me. So I was hoping that I could balance, doing listings as much as the time I'm putting in here. But honestly, my passion is what I'm doing, and I'm doing this. I love this. So that's why I'm doing it.
Okay, yeah.
All right. Every Wednesday and Thursday, this is the meat and potatoes of what I'm doing here. So Wednesdays and Thursdays, we're going to be talking about listings, the buyer sale process, escrow title lender. I think we just did this one on last Thursday. So we're going to do zip forms and transaction files. Let me just check real quick. So on Wednesday, the 15th, we're going to be doing zip forms and transaction files. Yes. So this is our next class on Wednesday at 11. We'll be talking about accessing all the forms and how we get them and fill them out. And then we're going to have 2 classes on the residential purchase agreement. That's going to be divided up into the first half and second half. So the first half is going to be all the things, all the check boxes that we fill out in order to fill out an offer. And then the second part is going to be all the paragraphs that really come after that. And those are going to be, more about the contract and timelines and all the loopholes. So I'll have a lot of loopholes to go through with you. You guys, after doing this 2-day residential purchase agreement class, you will be experts in the RPA. I guarantee you that you will know more than 95% of the agents that have been doing this forever.
This Wednesday, and
That's going to be back to KWVH virtual. Those classes are going to be on the 16th and 22nd. I wish there were Wednesday, Thursday, just how it worked out. So it's going to be Thursday the 16th and then Wednesday the 22nd. But that's cool. It'll give you the weekend for the first one to sink in, and then we'll do a brief review and then go through the rest of it on the 22nd. So that's going to be residential purchase agreement. I can promise you, you will know more than most agents out there for attending that class. Then we have a class on counters, amendments, addendums. So this is logical. So once you're familiar with the residential purchase agreement, then you'll know how to send out a counter offer, right? Because when you are a listing agent and you're receiving a purchase agreement, you'll know all the things to look for because you're familiar with it and you'll know how to counter it. So this is logical sequence. So counters, amendments, addendums. Then we're gonna do comps. We'll probably do a comp, we'll do a comp on Wednesday. Just to go through comps. I like to do comps at least once a week, because we're always doing comps. For our buyers, we're doing comps before we write an offer. And for our sellers, we're doing comps before we go on our listing presentation. Then we have the buyer consultation class and listing presentation. So those are how to, we're gonna be, we'll do, how to sign up, how to sign a buyer. Or we'll go through the buyer consultation and the buyer representation agreement. And then we'll do a listing agreement, listing presentation. Disclosures, we'll talk about inspections, negotiations. And then we're gonna have classes on leasing. So leasing, let's talk real quick about leasing. This is the fastest money that you can make in real estate is leasing. Because you can have nothing going on right now. You take a tenant to a property, they want to lease it. And you fill out a lease tomorrow and get paid this week. Right, so that's fast. With buying and selling, there's gonna be an escrow period. So you can take a buyer to a property, but it's still gonna be 21-day, 30-day, 45-day. So leasing, I would say, leasing takes a lot of time, but if you wanna drive around whatever area you like and if you call on the signs that are not agent signs, you just call on the for lease signs and say, hi, I say, hi, this is JJ with Keller Williams Beverly Hills. I see you have something for lease at such and such address. Would you like me to advertise that in the MLS for you? So if you just ask that question, then they might say, what do you charge for that? And then you can have a conversation. This is how commissions are paid.
Not listed by an agent,
If you see a for lease sign or for rent,
Okay, so
drive by a building,
maybe it's listed by another agent.
but an agent will have an agent sign. An agent will have a brokerage sign.
Oh.
Right? So if you drive by a sign and it says for rent, for lease, you can pull over, call and say, hi, would you like me to advertise this property in the MLS for you? And they're gonna say, what do you charge for that?
Oh,
That's it, and then you can tell them then you have an appointment, right? So that's what I do. You can get a lot of lease listings. So I would say if you're gonna do one or two, it's a lot of work, but if you're in that area, you can start making a lot of money if you do that. You get active in that. Okay, Elevate is something Thursday mornings, and this is gonna be all out of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. So, let's just see what the next class is coming up, which is gonna be on the 16th. We're gonna do, business planning. So something cool in this company is we teach you how to run a business. So we're gonna do business planning. All right, so here we are, number 18, negotiate offers. Okay. So we'll have our Ignite book, negotiate offers. All right. So we're almost at the end of this cycle. We're gonna start back with number 1. So here we are. What is negotiation? 3 P's of negotiation. Negotiation tips. Okay, we'll go through that. Okay. Larry Steinberg, sports agent and author. Negotiating is not something to be avoided or feared. It's an everyday part of life. I think we all learn negotiation as babies, right? We just cry. Great. It's a great negotiation strategy. You're gonna get it. It's an everyday part of life. Yeah, we have to negotiate for everything. All right, what is negotiation? So negotiation and the Y4C2Ts. So if we look at negotiation in our system, this is the Y4C2Ts. This is our systems. This is our system of beliefs in Keller Williams. And it starts with win-win. Win-win or no deal. So let's just talk real quick about win-win. Win-win means that you don't have a loser, right? That's what win-win means. In every negotiation, there is a give and a take. If you're gonna ask for something from somebody, you have to give something. Right? So don't just ask in exchange for something. So let's just talk about real estate for a second. When we write an offer on a property, we're agreeing to all these terms. Okay. Then we're gonna have inspections. So when our buyer is inspecting a property, they're now being made aware of things they were not previously aware of. Right? Now we need to go back to the seller and say we would like certain things repaired or credit for things we were not previously aware of. The offer we made was as is. It was as we knew the property to be when we made our offer. But now that we've done inspections, we're aware of new things. And in order for the buyer to proceed, we would like these items, we would like a credit for these items. This is now a negotiation. Why should the seller agree to give you anything? Because the buyer at this point is offering in exchange for the credit is removing contingency. When the buyer removes contingencies, the seller can move forward with the sale, knowing that if the buyer does not complete the sale, they'll lose their deposit. That's a big deal. So the seller needs the buyer to remove contingencies in order to move forward with their life, in order to go buy that new house, to go sign that new lease listing, right? To move out, to pay movers to move their furniture out. The seller can't do that until the buyer removes contingencies. The act of removing contingencies tells the seller if the buyer doesn't do this deal, they're gonna lose their deposit. So this is the negotiation at this point after the buyer does their inspections. Right? The negotiation is give us a credit or do these repairs in exchange for us removing our contingencies. It's a win-win because there's not one loser here. Both are winning. The buyer is winning, getting the credit. The seller is winning, having contingencies removed. All right, integrity, always do the right thing. Customers always come first. Commitment in all things. Communication, seek first to understand. This is an important one. Listen. Creativity, ideas before results. Creativity, ideas before results. Teamwork, together everyone achieves more. Trust starts with honesty. Equity, opportunities for all. Success results through people. Anyone have any ahas with the Y4C2Ts? What they think about any of these? Love to hear your input. No, nobody's thinking. Come on, guys.
JJ, can you
yeah.
please share your screen?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you for asking.
Thank you.
I know sometimes it's showing that it's shared, but it's not. Thank you. So trust is the big one here. I think if someone trusts you, that's how you're earning their business. If whenever I'm sitting with a new agent, I ask myself, would I list my property first? So that's the first thing I'm gonna ask myself. And then I'm gonna tailor my instruction or advice on helping them get to that point. Path of a negotiation. There are two options after an offer is presented. So option one, you make an offer and it's gonna get accepted and then you're gonna take it to closing. What's option two? You're gonna make an offer and it's either gonna get rejected or countered. All right, so offer, you're gonna make it, it's gonna get accepted. Option two, it's gonna get rejected or countered. So I always wanna write my offers that they can be accepted. So what does that mean? It means time is your enemy in real estate as far as when you're a buyer. If you're representing a buyer, you need that acceptance immediately. If you don't get an acceptance ASAP, you run the risk of another agent writing another offer competing with you, right? So your job is to get an acceptance ASAP. How do you do that? One of the methods that I do is I will call the listing agent and I'll say, hi, blah, blah, blah. I read through the MLS. Do you have any offers right now? I want to get my buyer's offer accepted. It's the best thing that your seller could do is accept an offer from my buyer. Ha ha ha. If I write an offer to you right now, what do you think you would counter? What are the terms that you would counter me normally with any offer that I would write? And then hopefully they're telling me who they want for escrow, who they want for title, how many day escrow they want, and I might ask questions like, why is that important to the seller? Why? So I'm trying to get to a point where the offer that I'm writing won't be countered. The only thing that they're gonna counter me is on price, right? Because I've already discussed everything else with the listing agent, hopefully. There are listing agents, that unfortunately won't call you back so fast, right? So that happens. But I want to write an acceptable offer. If I can do that, I have a high chance of getting my offer accepted, right? I want the listing agent to, if hopefully the listing agent is cooperating with me. And I'm saying, if I write my offer like this, do you think it can get accepted? And I'm telling the listing agent, I want my offer to be accepted. Tell me, tell me what you're looking for. What would you counter? I want to write it how it's not going to get countered and
He
accepted.
said clean offer, so was a clean
What
offer,
does clean mean to you? What does clean mean to you?
where, I'm just,
What does clean mean?
without contingency, possibly no loan,
Okay,
no
Now,
loan contingent, no this.
so thank you for bringing that up. So
That's what
as
it is.
brokers, we can't recommend to our clients not to investigate a property.
When investigation.
We can't tell our clients, don't investigate this property, right? That's a liability, right? You can't do that because there could be a nightmare, right? That could be totally shot foundation.
But the investigation is always there,
Okay,
but they
but
said no other one clean.
when I have a
Short
seller,
escrow.
when I have a seller saying to me, a seller, if I'm a listing agent and another buyer agent is calling me and saying, JJ, what do we have to do to get this deal done? I can say to that other agent, I have another offer that has removed contingency. Right? I can say that. But I can't say to the other agent, tell your buyer to remove their contingencies. I can't do that. That's
Yeah.
bad advice from any broker. But I can say I have another offer that has all contingencies removed.
Oh,
I have that, right? So now they know what they're competing with. If I have a buyer, I can tell my buyer, the listing agent told me that they're sitting on an offer that all contingencies have been removed. And now that's up to you. That's a very dangerous offer to make.
yeah.
If you really want this property and you really want to get it,
And you cannot advise them, you can't say.
I can't say it's not, I can't say,
If you write
I
that.
can't tell them, remove your contingencies, because then I can get sued, like,
If you say, well, I really like this property, I want to get it,
okay.
then you tell them that remove the what do you?
So we have a form and it's a waiver form.
Oh,
And it says, these are all the inspections that you can do. And if you're waiving them, you need to check and sign.
is a waiver for in the
And
car.
it says at the top, brokers, you're acting against the advice of a broker.
Oh, I see.
These are the contingencies, these are the inspections. And if you want to waive them, that's up to you,
Oh,
right?
okay.
That we have that form.
That's-
It protects us.
Yeah, yeah,
But look, if you're getting a deal and you're buying something for land value, you really,
yeah.
right? You're getting a deal, you want the property, or you're a neighbor buying the property right next door to you. You have to have this property, right? Do you care? Like, if
Yeah.
it costs you an extra whatever,
Yeah, yeah.
you want to have that property, right? So, there are situations, but
Okay, yeah.
these are the ones, yeah. Well,
See, that form a lot in places.
So we use,
Things fell out and they already had an inspection, which becomes material.
so we use that form all the time. It's one of our required forms, the waiver, because there are waivers, there are property inspections you're not gonna do.
What I mean to say is like an inspection has already taken place, but the
Right.
deal fell apart and that becomes a material fact. That's you need to disclose.
Yes, so all previous inspections will be disclosed to the new buyer.
Might situation where.
Now, let's just say we have a buyer and we're being presented all these past disclosures, all these past investigations, right? The question is, do we trust them?
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll know the inspector. And I'll say, this is a really good inspector. Like, I don't think anything new will get found if we hire our own. This is a really thorough inspector. But sometimes you can have just a bad inspection. I've seen more bad inspections than I have good inspections. Like not thorough. I mean by bad, not thorough. There's a lot of inspectors that just come in, take some snapshots, and they'll give you a 16-page report. There are other inspectors that'll come in and give you a 90, 120-page report. So, if I'm getting a 120-page report with pictures and descriptions, that's a pretty reliable report, probably. But these are the things that can happen. So either your offer is going to get accepted or it's going to get countered or rejected. Now, as agents, I like to think of this as a ping pong game. We're gonna keep the ball moving. So if I write an offer, it's up to the listing agent to counter me. If I get a counter offer, it's up to me to get my client to put something back in writing. And I want to keep that ball moving until there's an acceptance. So that's a good agent will get you something back in writing. Now, as a listing agent, you might have a listing where your seller says, I'm not countering this offer, it's too low. You need to type up a counter offer for your seller with maybe coming back at the same price. Right, or maybe even higher than the asking price. Right, just to send a message to the buyer's agent, right? Like this is a ridiculously low offer, you're lowballing. It's upsetting, but we'll entertain it for now. Here's our counter with a ridiculous price, right? But you're paddling the ball back. It's their turn now. So you want to keep getting, it's your turn. Okay, so now we're gonna have a negotiation to get accepted, rejected, to closing. We always want to get to the closing. That's our. Who you negotiate with? I don't like negotiating with another agent. I don't like that. That's not as an agent. What I mean by that is I'm not giving answers for my client. Yes, I'm negotiating for them, but I'm never giving an answer for them. Okay, there's a difference between negotiation and answering for your client. If someone writes an offer to me, if someone writes an offer to my seller is the one who has to decide what price they're going to come back with, right? I'm not going to say to the other agent, you're too low, you're this, you're that, right? I want to, of course, get the price up, but but if there's a question that involves a decision from my seller, a final decision, that comes from my seller. So when someone calls me and says, will your seller accept this? My response is put it in writing and I'll present it. That's my response. Or that's very low. We've already said no to other offers that were higher, but you can still put it in writing and I'll present it. Right? I'm never going to make a decision for my client. They'll always make the decision. You never know when you're going to catch someone in a good mood and when they're in a bad mood, right? Like there are times of the day where someone will say no, 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 and you catch them in a good mood, they'll say yes, right? Who knows? Okay, so who you negotiate with? Your clients, the agent on the other side of the transaction. So again, we're just trying to get to closing. All right. Common points of negotiation: price. Usually the primary factor, cost of the property. So price is going to be number one. Terms, either financial, time-based, or both. When I am talking to either a buyer or a seller, the sellers usually want to know, hey, what's my property worth? They want to get straight to the price, right? That's the important thing. What's the price? There are also times where a seller, when you're interviewing a seller, you're going to get to a point where you see that they need to sell like really fast. Like they only have a 30-day time frame. That's all they have. In that negotiation, you need to explain to them why putting a low price on the property is going to get buyers. And you need to get into escrow. You don't have the luxury of time to overprice. So terms, so price, common points of negotiation, price and terms. That's all we're going to go back and forth on. Any comments? This is common sense. Okay, what are the three P's of negotiation? Okay, prepare, present, and position. So three P's. Preparation is the key to building confidence and ensuring a smooth negotiation process. I'll get more into that. So present, move into the negotiation process by presenting the offer. Position, move both parties closer until you have full agreement. I want to just share with you something that popped in my head on present. Sometimes you'll want to present your offer in person to the seller if the listing agent allows it. There are times where you're going to have a property that you're looking at that is severely overpriced. Okay. It happens all the time, right, John?
Yeah.
You see properties that are way overpriced. I would say it's in your client's best interest in that scenario to try to get the listing agent to set an appointment with you so that you can present your offer in person with the seller.
Really? I mean, the sales, most of the sales you had to go through me. I mean, but how would you negotiate with
What
the,
if the listing agent knows they have an overpriced listing?
well,
Again, you need cooperation from the listing agent with this.
what about if the arrogant say this? I
There are a lot of those, there are a lot.
Just
Right, so.
about other people.
So here's the question, who are you fighting? The listing agent or the seller? Right, that's what I'm saying, like, is the listing agent best representing their client? Are they standing in the way of the deal or are they trying to make a deal? Right, I'm always trying to make,
The listing agent say that I'm the best man. I know everything about what you want to know.
I know,
I mean, you're not able to know. I mean,
it happens where you have a stubborn listing agent and they're the reason that the property's overpriced.
but you can go to the seller and,
No, you cannot go directly to the seller.
oh,
Can't do that. You have to ask the listing agent, can I present my offer in person? I think I can,
in person, take it to
and
the,
I can we set a meeting in person with your seller.
oh,
You, the listing agent, the seller, and me. Can we all get together? That's what I want.
yeah.
Is that better for stuff that's like
That's better
really
for-
overpriced or even stuff that's kind of overpriced?
Well, kind of overpriced is fine if the seller, it's fine. I mean, I'm trying to, what I want to do at that meeting, my goal is obviously to get a deal done, but I'm bringing comps with me.
Yeah, I just mean versus like submitting an offer that is
So
more of the actual price that it should be listed at.
yes,
versus-
so I need to show the seller why we're coming in at the price we're coming in at.
Yeah.
And why it's beneficial for them to accept my offer. Or they can just sit on the market. If they think they're gonna get that unicorn buyer, right, they can wait. The seller can do anything they want. Did you have a question? That's
I think you kind of, yeah, so is there anything else?
real estate value is based on comps.
Yeah.
Comps. What is similar, apples to apples, sold. That's what determines value. But I'm just thinking, I
Hi,
want.
JJ. I have a question.
Sure.
Hi, this is Suki. Why is it better to present the offer to the seller like in person if you are the buyer's agent?
Only if you can't get a meeting of the minds.
Okay.
I'm just, if you've written an offer and it's not getting accepted, or you're dealing with a property that's been on the market forever, right? A property's been on the market for 8 months, there hasn't been a price reduction. You want to give it a shot, right? Your buyer's kind of come in low, much lower than the asking price. And the only shot you're gonna have at this is to get in front of the seller.
That's.
Because you don't want the listing
Okay.
agent standing in your way, right?
Got it.
Now,
Got it.
hopefully the listing agent is under the realization that yes, they overpriced, because every agent is telling them how crazy their price is. And hopefully the listing agent wants to get paid, right? And hopefully
Okay.
they're play ball with you. So I'm just remembering an appointment that I went on to represent a buyer. And I met this seller family in Beverlywood. And I'm sitting at the dining room table and I present my offer to them. And my buyer gave me authorization to go up to a certain number. And my goal was to get something signed at that table, a counter offer from them signed that my buyer could sign. That was my whole goal at that meeting. They did not want to sign anything at that meeting, and they waited till the next day. And it actually saved my buyer like 100,000. They were willing to go 100,000 more to get it signed that evening. Right. Anyways, I got the deal done, but but I'm just, there are a lot of things in person that can happen. I needed to first ascertain if they were willing to sign that night. That was my first thing. I wasn't giving any numbers until I knew if they were ready to sign it. If we could reach a deal that evening, they were not able to commit to a deal that evening. Had they done it, my buyer would have paid 100,000 more. Same. So anyways, prepare, present, position. All right. So move both parties closer until you have full agreement. All right, let's go. Prepare. So know your goals. Know your client. Think ahead. Set clear expectations.
JJ, I have a quick question.
Sure.
I wanted to know if you meet with the seller and the listing agent, and the listing is overpriced, but then the seller initiated and agreed to that price and not go, and he doesn't want to go less, then what do you do on that meeting?
So if I have presented all the comps to the seller
Right,
and the seller is still adamant about
yes,
getting more than what's reasonable, I've
Correct.
tried my best. I have tried my best. At that point,
Okay.
I thank them for their time and I go back to my buyer and I tell them how everything I did at the meeting.
Okay.
And then I say, do you want to pay more than it's worth?
okay,
Do you want to pay more than the comps are showing it's worth? Not, because it could be worth what it's worth to my buyer, right?
Yeah,
But it's up to them, like,
no.
as long as the buyer knows what the comps are, they can pay whatever they want.
Right.
when they have too many
And they know the
offers,
area,
you're not gonna
so-
go by the comp. I don't believe your comp. I got higher than the comp.
That will show me your
That's-
comp, show me your comp. Show,
You know what I mean? I have the offer.
show me, so
Oh, yeah.
if you're showing me a different offer and you didn't accept it, look, there's nothing I can do. I mean, look, if there's someone willing to pay more than my buyer,
Right.
then I'm out. I mean, obviously.
I'm saying with someone.
I'm always hoping I have the highest paying buyer.
Yeah.
Of course. All right. So here, know your goal. Your goal is always to get an acceptance. Know your client. So I was saying a couple of weeks ago, had an agent call me, or I called a listing agent. I said, where do we need to be on price? And the agent said, JJ, if you want this deal, this is where we have to end up, at this number. Whether you're gonna come in low and we're gonna go back and forth, or you're gonna come in at this number, this is the number we need to be at, just to save all of us time, but you know your client better. Is your client the type of person that has to go back and forth in negotiation before they'll decide on a number,
Oh, yeah.
right? But he knew his client, right? He knew his client, just said, get me that number and I'm a seller. Don't bring him if you can't.
And you really believe him? You have.
Yeah, because
You have belief.
this was a property that had been on the market listed 4 times already. It had been previously listed 4 times. So
Oh,
I believed him. When he said this is the number and the seller's not selling without the number, I clearly believed him.
yeah.
That's the number that we need to be on.
Have they been price cutting it? Is that part of it?
So this particular seller always listed at the same number.
Oh, well,
Exactly. So he said, everything, he did give me a number a little lower, but he's like, that's the number we need. Like, don't waste your time. There's no deal here. Oh, by the way, it didn't sell. It expired.
You have to be psychologist.
You have to be a psychologist in this, yes.
I think that's. And
Set clear expectations, be informed, obey the laws, know the documents inside and out.
I have them.
I'll do that.
Take a community college course.
Let's see.
Take a whole degree in that, so.
Purposeful questions. So provides you with the points you will negotiate on. Provides insight on where you and your client will have leverage. Set clear expectations. Allows you to get to know your client and their goal. Helps you learn what will make it a win-win negotiation for both parties. This is just about asking questions. Ask lots of questions. If I'm sitting with a seller, the first thing that I do when I look at comps is I always go to the public records and just ascertain the property, how much is owed. That's the first thing I really usually look at, is the property in foreclosure and how much is owed. I want to know if they're under financial pressure.
It's a good idea to discuss with the seller. Let's say that he wants in the certain area that not too many sale is being done. So you show it to him that this is very good area. Property doesn't come on sale, on the market for sale. You have to wait 10 years before next property come. So you have to come up close to the,
Every property that you are engaged with is going to be different.
Yeah.
Right, and you have to analyze the area
you have
And-
to analyze the area after.
and explain it to your client, yeah. You're using everything. All right, open versus closed questions. What's an open-ended question? Questions that have unlimited response options. What additional information should I know? What is important about closing in 30 days? How do you feel about that? A question I will often ask on a listing appointment to my seller is, if I bring you a cash offer for that amount today, will you accept it? It's a very powerful question for me. I want to see how they react to that. If I bring you this, like, let's say I have someone and they want to get 2.5 for their property, but I know it's worth 2.2. They want 2.5. If I say to them, if I bring you an offer for 2.3 today in cash, will you accept that? If they won't accept 2.3 and it's worth 2.2, even though they're telling me they want 2.5. But now what's going through their head? That I might have a cash buyer for 2.3, right? I need to know if they'll take that offer, which is ridiculous.
Maybe
Well,
price is more important for them.
But I'm ascertaining now. Are they realistic or not? Because I'm gonna now devote my time and effort and money.
Yeah.
Right? I need to know if they're a real seller. What's their motivation for selling? So when I call a listing agent, my question to the listing agent is, what additional information should I know about the property? Aside from what's in the MLS? That's what I ask the listing agent. Is there anything I should know about the property that's not in the MLS?
And
Tell me all your disclosures now, so I can relay them to my buyer. I'm always trying to put out buyers up front. What is important about closing in 30 days? So that could be to a buyer or a seller. Why? What's the thing about the timing? How do you feel about that? So what's the next step is a good question. Closed-ended questions. Questions that expect a specific response, often yes or no. Do you have to sell your home by a specific date? Do you have any other offers? What is the bottom line price that you would consider? I much prefer open-ended questions than closed-ended. All right, what would happen if is a great open-ended question. Helps you anticipate the next steps of the negotiation. Why is this important to you? Helps you gain more information and gain more insights. When you guys are going to listen to agents negotiate, how they do their listing appointment, how they do their buyer's appointment, it's all about asking questions. Why is this important to you? Is this a really important one? We need to just ask, stay in the question. All right. Take action. Work with the partner, read the scenario, list clarifying questions to ask your client, apply your new knowledge of open and closed questions. So this is
can you ask listing agent usually tell a lot of it's a great property with and
that's their job.
that's their job.
Great property.
Would you say that property and on the market that we have any transaction this property? Because some of the property has been canceled, withdrawn, canceled.
So I'm just
You look at that.
just hoping that the agent on the other end wants to make a deal. That's all I'm hoping. I just hope that they,
And you like
that's
it.
the end goal. Obviously, whenever I look at a listing in the MLS, I look to see who the listing agent is. If it's an agent that I know I'm gonna have a tough time with, I'm like, oh gosh. Right? If it's an agent that I know is a deal maker, I get very excited.
Yeah.
And I'll tell my client, you know what, I know the agent on that,
Oh,
and
that's very important.
it's very important.
Be done it. Yeah.
Now, when I'm on a listing appointment, I tell the seller how important it is which listing agent they're picking. Obviously, pick me. Why pick me? Because I'm trusted in the community.
How do you get the agent?
People want to deal with me, right? There might be agents in the community that have ostracized other agents.
Yeah.
Other agents won't show their properties, right? This is in every market. Why pick the Beverly Hills agent? If you're going after a listing in Calabasas or Woodland Hills or Encino or Orange County, why pick the Beverly Hills agent and not the local agent? Pick the Beverly Hills agent because I have no beef with any agents in this area. Everyone will show your property, right? There are agents who have beat out other agents in your area that they won't show each other's property. You don't want it with me, all agents are coming to your property. Oh, that makes sense. Right. Oh, best practices when presenting. Here we go. Okay, we're gonna present our offer. Call the other agent. Pay attention to non-verbal cues like pauses and voice qualities. Okay, so now we're gonna make that call. We're gonna really pay attention to this agent, how their responses are. Keep quiet once you present an offer. So we're talking now maybe So everything in real estate should be in writing, but if I'm asking about numbers with an agent, I'm gonna be paying really careful attention to how they're responding when I put a number out there. Listen carefully to what is important to the other party. Stay calm and relaxed. That's the hardest one to do, I think, for some people. Focus on the customer's needs and give your offer the best chance. You guys have any, if you do want to do any like role play, like calling an agent, you know, I would suggest that guys pick a partner, pretend you're one is the listing agent, one is the buyer's agent. Really, it's good to have a role play partner.
Justin does that too.
Dustin, yeah, it's
When-
really, it's important to practice.
Back on the present, you said, it says call the other agent, paying attention to nonverbal cues.
Yeah.
It's just because some agents will take the offer over the phone and they won't say, put it in writing, like you like to say. Do you suggest in a verbal soft offer before?
I mean, it's,
Writing?
no, I always give agents the benefit of the doubt. Meaning, if they're telling me something, I'm gonna trust them.
Yeah.
I am trying to hear cues. A lot of times in this business, you're gonna write an offer that on a property that's been on the market 6 months. And you're gonna get a counter offer, which is a multiple counter offer. And your buyer is never gonna believe that they have another offer at this time, that they're playing games, right? That it's been on the offer, it's been on the market 6 months, and now all of a sudden I'm writing my offer and there's another offer. Yes, it happens all the time. All the time, all the time. You have to trust the other agent that there is another offer out there. So, if an agent is telling me sincerely that there is, I have to believe them, but I'm paying attention to that kind of verbal cue. Pauses, voice quality. I'm sure any of you are better than me at listening to this, but I sometimes, sometimes I'll call an agent, and I will, if we're in multiple offers, I'll call a listing agent and I will say, where do I need to be to get this deal? And they'll say, I can't share any information with you. And I won't say anything. And then it's gonna be starting to get uncomfortable, like an uncomfortable sign, and I'll still not say anything. And I'll still not say anything. And then they'll start talking. Right? So really, I mean, I think there are points in a negotiation where your silence and refusal to speak will get the negotiation, will get information out of an agent. I'm thinking about another conversation that I had about 4 months ago with a seller. That I was with a potential seller that I wanted to get their listing. And it was about, we were talking about price. I don't know what happened, but I asked a question and there was silence. Literally, I promise you, there was 40 seconds of silence, 40, until they said, hello, are you still there? Long, but he knew how powerful my negotiation was because I didn't speak for that 40 seconds. Right? Because he obviously took the same class I did. Right? And I'm sure. Okay. All right, position. Acknowledge and affirm common ground. So this is good. We agree on this. We agree on this, right? We agree on this. That's common ground. We have agreement on this. We have agreement on this and agreement on this. Like you're narrowing down to what you're not agreeing on, right? So this is our position. We're all in agreement on everything else. Ask what and how questions. Know that positioning is a process and know when to walk away. Right? Never want to walk away, but know when. All right. Take action. Okay, work with your same partner, read the scenario, complete the role play. Right, so is there a role play?
This talks about knowing when to walk away sorry, I'm very new to this.
Yeah.
Offers have a very short shelf life, like, hey, this is a 24-hour offer. And so you can walk away without any fear of it. Them 2 weeks later saying, well, we're taking
Question, good question. So The offer is good for 3 days till 5 p.m. Every counter offer is good for 3 days until 5 p.m. If today is Thursday and there's gonna be an open house Saturday and Sunday, I want to try to get my offer accepted by Friday evening. So I'm gonna shorten my offer time. Now, the way that I look at these times, the way that I look at times are, it's a courtesy to respond in time. I look at it as a courtesy, but I don't look at it as hard. Like I'm looking at it more as a courtesy to respond on time than not. If it passes the expiration time and it gets accepted on the other side after the expiration, that's still okay. It just needs to be ratified. But it's okay. Of course, I know if I'm representing a buyer, I want to get my offer accepted ASAP. Anything can happen with time. I don't want another offer coming in out of nowhere and keeping me up. Okay, so there is a scenario here. Anyone want to read it on page 18.6? Volunteer? Great.
All right, scenario. The property has 4 bedrooms, 3.5 baths, and it's listed at,
Oh, which one? Which one?
oh, there's 2.
18.6.
Am I in the wrong one?
18.
Oh, I'm on 8. Skipped it.
18.6.
Points. Okay. Scenario, you're representing a single
Hi,
buyer.
JJ, I have a quick question.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry, we're doing a scenario in class on 18.6. In the participant.
Okay.
guide.
You're representing a single buyer. Your client is renting her present property. Like any first-time buyer, she's looking to you to guide her through the process. The asking price for the home she really loves is $175,000. Wow.
Let's add a 0 to that.
$1.75 million. The house appears to have evidence of a roof leak, is listed as is, and is correctly priced. Your client would like to keep her payments as low as possible since she still has a number of student loans to pay off. She wants to write an offer for 1.55 million.
Right.
There has been quite a bit of activity on the listing.
So now this is just saying what questions would you ask the client? So you're representing a single buyer. The client is renting from present property. Okay, so what question would you be asking your client? They want to write an offer and they're currently renting.
How soon do they need to,
I would ask, like, are you in a lease or are you month to month? Right? Are you able to make a mortgage payment and a lease payment at the same time? Maybe, I don't know. They're just clarifying questions. But she wants a property. The asking price is $1,750,000. Has a leaky roof and she wants to offer $1,550,000. So what questions are you gonna ask a buyer that wants to lowball?
When it's saying is, it is priced correctly, that's
Priced correctly.
being the
Really is, it really is worth $1,750,000.
leaky
With
roof
the roof.
accounted for. Like, they're like,
It's worth $1,750,000. What questions would you start asking your buyer if they wanted to throw out a $1,550,000 offer?
how are you gonna feel if somebody comes in with an offer at their ask?
That's a good question. Would you be upset if you
Yeah.
lost this to someone who bid more than you? Right? You can't.
Yeah, are you gonna regret not giving the,
Okay,
Isn't it
great,
something-
yeah, great question. Whenever I have a buyer, and we're in multiple offers. Right? The buyer, my fear is my buyer is gonna hate me if I don't get the deal for them. Right? I don't want my buyer to break up with me. Right? They're gonna think it's my fault. They're not getting the property. So I have to get my buyer up as high as possible. So a question that I will ask my buyer is, if you don't get the so in this case, if someone else bought it for 1.6, would you be upset? If they bought it for 1.650, would you be upset? If someone else got it for 1.7, would you be upset? I'm trying to find out where that pain threshold is on my buyer. That they need to tell me, if someone else is willing to pay that, I will not be upset. Right? That's where I'm gonna ask them to write their offer at, just a little below that.
You can ask them too if it would be difficult to pay their student loans if they paid the ask.
Wow, student loans, yeah.
Like, would it be too difficult to pay those if you're paying a higher mortgage?
So how are you ready
Yeah,
to offer on a
Losers.
nearly $2 million home when you still have student loans? Like, why have you paid it off?
That's a good question. Yeah, so these are now becoming maybe lender questions, right? Right, is the lender going to approve that?
Yeah.
With that debt? Because they're gonna do a debt
Yeah.
ratio. Okay, question online. Sue, did you have a question? Someone? All right, no problem. Let's keep going. Negotiation tips. We love negotiation tips. Be professional, yes. Keep your goal in mind. Okay? Pay attention to your communication and tone. Anyone involved in the transaction. Whenever you're dealing with real estate or someone's personal property, it's emotional. There's gonna be emotions flying high. You're gonna see people at their worst. And you need to be the calmer of things. Continually refer to your client's motivation when speaking with them. Why? So this is basically finding out why they wanted to buy in the first place. Why do they like this property in the first place? Take them back to that motivation when you're speaking with them. So they're saying, I'm not, you're a seller who's saying, I am not fixing that thing that they knew was broken. And I will walk away from this deal if they don't, if they insist on me fixing that. I'm not fixing that. I refuse. Say, look, I understand how you're feeling. This is, let's go back to your goal. Why are you selling? If you were to do this, right, we're going to be closing in 2 weeks. Do you really want to start this process over? You take them back to their motivation. You're only 2 weeks away from selling and getting into that new house of your dreams. Oh, okay. Don't reveal too much. Listen more than talk. Keep your client's motivation close to your chest. So if you're speaking to another agent, you don't want to give away your client's motivation. So all the time on a listing, people are going to come in and say, why are they selling? Why are they selling? Right? They're looking for that weakness, basically. Why are they selling? So I'm never going to give away weakness as a listing agent. Why? I'm always going to be prepared to answer that question. Why are they selling? And it's not going to be weak. Why are they selling? Because they can't afford to make any of their. No, I'm not going to say that. Right? That's going to invite a lowball offer. Right? If they think my seller is under pressure. So as a listing agent, I never want them to think my seller is under pressure. Don't be attached to the outcome. This is a very, very powerful place to be. When you're negotiating from a position of power. I can tell you as a listing agent, you're going to care a lot less about taking an overpriced listing when you have a lot of listings. If it's your only listing, you're going to care a lot about getting that listing, even if it's overpriced. Right? Just makes sense. Right? When you're an active agent, you can pick and choose who you deal with. Not the person who's yelling at you all the time. Right? If it's the only thing you're working on, you'll deal with the yelling. Right? That's how it is. But don't be attached to the outcome. When you're in a position of power from being active, that will not let you be attached to the outcome. So that's where we want to be. Okay. Let's see. Was there another scenario that we skipped in here? I would love to go through it.
Before that, they,
Yeah, let's go. Let's do it. 18-8. Why not?
this one's like talking back and forth.
Sure.
Okay, scenario. Property has 4 bedrooms, 3.5 baths, and is listed at,
3.5 million.
okay, in a well-established neighborhood. House requires new carpeting throughout the first floor and a new garage door opening. 3 offers have been made, but all were below the asking price.
Okay, so we have a 4-bedroom, 3.5 bath house. Listed for 3.5 million. And all the offers came in below asking. Okay.
Buyer's agent role. Your buyers are making an offer of 3.4 million for the house. They've been pre-approved. The buyers would like to close in the shortest time possible since they're moving from out of state and need a home for their family. Since they're leaving their appliances in their current home, the buyers would also like all of the appliances to be included in the listing agent role. Your sellers have raised their family in the house. You are selling and have many friends and family in the area. Since their children are now grown, they no longer need the amount of space their current home provides and have purchased a home in Florida. They would like to give all the appliances to their daughter, who has just gone through a divorce. They will not be moving until they've sold their current house, and although they would like to get to Florida as soon as possible, they're ready to stand their ground regarding the price.
So on the listing side, you have some parents that want to give away all the appliances to their daughter. And on the buy side, you have some buyers that are insisting on these appliances. Okay. And and both are pretty firm on their price, right? They want to offer 3.4, you have a seller that wants 3.5, and we have an appliance issue. So we have a negotiation to do. Appliances can be pretty pricey, right?
I was gonna say, you can be asking for the lower price because you're gonna have to go out and buy all of your own appliances, and it could go, depending on how many they're taking. It could be about $100,000 appliances if you buy really nice stuff. It's a little bit of a push, but
Now the seller wants to keep the appliances and sell for 3.5. They want everything. They have to give something, right? Are they gonna give on the price or the appliances? Sounds like they're gonna have to give on the price. Right? They're gonna have to give on the price to buy some new appliance. So as an agent, how am I gonna put out this fire? What am I gonna do? Yeah, Richard.
Can you inform the buyer's agent that they would have to have a bill of sale for their clients? Is that correct?
So we have a situation where the seller has promised these appliances to their daughter.
Yeah.
Forgetting price right now. They promised this sounds really important.
Yeah.
They promised these appliances to their daughter. Their daughter has some emotional attachment to these appliances for some reason. I don't know why, but maybe this is a historical property. I don't know. Well, you can't really damage that, but
sentimental.
yeah, sentimental, yeah.
AJ,
From our
divorce,
family home.
divorce is gonna be really hard, obviously.
Yeah.
Feel for the lady what she's going through, but they have an offer that's pre-approved. It is a little bit less than asking, and maybe they'd be willing to get her some appliances secondhand somewhere else and just get the deal done.
Who would you rather be in this situation, the listing agent or the buyer's agent?
Buyer.
Buyer, yeah.
Buyer.
Buyer, for sure. So I'm explaining if I'm the buyer's agent, I'm explaining to my client that there's a lot of sentimental value on these appliances. Right, they're gonna get brand new, there's the good news, you're gonna get brand new appliances. That's the good news. Right, that's the good news.
Pick whatever you like.
Pick whatever you like, but you have to pay more. If I'm the listing agent, what am I doing? So what would you guys do if you're the listing agent in the situation? Your client is telling you they want to give the appliances to their daughter. What questions are you gonna ask your seller? You said once, right?
Yeah.
What was your?
I mean, is it a real attachment to these specific appliances, or is there some other way you can work around this to make this deal happen? You've had 3 other offers, even if they've been underpriced.
Right, now, we need to make this deal happen, so.
She's sentimental about the fact that her parents are selling it versus and the appliances are the only thing she has to remember that house.
Would you ask permission from the seller to talk to the daughter?
Potentially, if it's,
Potentially, maybe, right?
if it's,
Are you really serious about these appliances? Like,
or is there something else?
it's gonna stand in the way of your parents, like,
You're gonna become
moving on? Like, maybe, I don't know. Do I want to be in that situation? I have no idea.
a therapist at that point.
Seriously. It's an interesting scenario. So, I mean, obviously, I would suggest that the buyers might have to pay more for those appliances. Right? And there has to be a give and take in every negotiation. There's gonna be a give and take. So the buyer's gonna have to come up. The buyer's either gonna come up in price and get the appliances because the daughter's getting compensated for them. Or right, or pay a lower price. Right? Is there any situation where the buyer's gonna pay a lower price now? I don't know, because
It's
the
lower than
seller's gonna have to pay the extra for the appliance for. The only scenario the buyer pays their low price is to give up the appliance. Right?
You don't mean lower than what they're asking.
Not lower than what they're offering. They're gonna have to come up in their offer a little bit. I don't know. So it's just something to think about. The real life scenario here is you're always gonna have an issue. Every deal has an issue. I learned something new on every single deal I do, all the time. Jerry, would you agree with that?
Yes,
There is.
but that's the exciting part.
That is the exciting part.
As long as you stay curious and have fun with it. And how amazing would it be to be a real estate agent and have someone in the family be a therapist? I mean, I think that.
And usually the therapists are, yeah.
I'm getting that degree, so I'll be able.
Oh, wow. All right, daily success system. We need to have 10 conversations a day. So as I said, I opened class with Nicki Minaj. Saying what it takes to be successful. And it's her response to why is she successful is because she wanted it the most.
It's banging.
She wanted it the most. So, answer the banger, yeah.
Such great bangers.
All right, 10 conversations every day, 10 real estate conversations. Do you have any plans this year for real estate, buying, selling, leasing, investing? I'm here to help you with anything you need. That's a real estate conversation.
Hey, JJ, can I ask a quick question before you move on to
Sure.
these? When you have a listing agent that is going to review offers on a certain date, what's your advice on presenting offers? Wait until the deadline, go earlier?
Okay, I'm asking the agent, is there any possible scenario that an offer gets accepted prior to the deadline? That's my first question.
Okay.
Is there can they swear to me that there will not be an offer accepted until the deadline? Because if there's any scenario where an offer could be accepted prior to the deadline, I want to get my offer accepted.
Okay.
So then I'm gonna ask what will it take to get an offer accepted prior to the deadline? What will that take? If they absolutely swear to me that all offers will be reviewed, we're not gonna accept anything until until all offers are reviewed at the deadline, then I'm gonna come in at the deadline. A minute before.
Okay.
Is that the voice of Sean Tadlawi?
It sure is.
It was him or God. It was one of the two. Sean.
What's up?
So I have won deals by getting them, even though they had an advertised deadline. Because I asked that question. Yeah.
So you would ask.
How firm is that deadline? Is there any possible scenario where an offer would get accepted prior to the deadline?
Prior to deadline.
Yeah. Because if there's any possible scenario, what would that scenario be? And that's what I'm relaying to my buyer after I get off the phone with that listing agent. If we come in at this, and this, we can have a deal. Now, the danger is I'm being lied to. And now we come in at that, and we set a new bar for everyone else to beat.
What if they say the response is, this is a strong offer, thank you, but we want to take it to market anyway? Like, how do you
Is
know
there any scenario where you wouldn't go to market?
you would not go to market?
Correct. Is there any scenario where you would not go to market?
Dealing with it right now.
And I'm going to try to sweeten it. Is there any way I could sweeten it where it would faster closing? We can, yeah. Rocket Mortgage could do an 8-day closing. 7-day closing. They have to. Is that important to the seller? Like what I'm trying to find, what's the most important thing to the seller? All right, so 10 conversations, 10 contacts added to command. Handwritten notes, if that's your thing, that's powerful. No one's doing handwritten notes anymore. 10.5.1, social media. If your goal is to do social media marketing, you want to have every day 10 likes, 5 comments, and 1 post. If you're doing this, 10 likes, 5 comments, and 1 post, then Gary Keller suggests 80% be personal and 20% be business. So for every 10 posts, 8 of them should be personal and 2 business. Enrichments would be taking people out for lunch or having, those power meetings. Or some kind of gift, like a notepad or whatever. Those are enrichments. Going on appointments. Our whole goal from doing everything is getting an appointment. And that's gonna be a showing, a listing appointment, buyer representation agreement appointment. That's our whole goal. We need to have everything starts with an appointment, whether it's showing a property, going on a listing appointment, meeting with a buyer. That's the goal of everything that we're doing here. Getting agreements signed and obviously taking everything to close. All right. Do not call the do not call list. There are big fines for that.
How do you find the numbers that are on the do not call list?
So we do have you can subscribe. Our office subscribes to the do not call list. I have the instructions. If you want, just email me and I can give you those instructions. Can I please share my screen? Yes. Yeah, so I can give you the instructions for the do not call list.
Also, they're gonna have a DNC next to the number that they don't want.
Yeah, if I'm giving you a call list, it says next to the number, do not call.
Otherwise you download,
DNC.
downloading all the numbers, then you just have to search it.
Yes. If you, on your call list, does it say DNC? Yeah.
What's hard is seems like almost everyone's on the DNC list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The numbers that aren't for properties don't belong to people who are at that property. That's
I
what
will say,
I countered.
be nice. Be a nice agent on the phone. Accidentally calling somebody on the DNC list, which you should not do. Just be nice.
Just be nice, always be nice.
Some people are not nice and they are relentless and they keep calling that same person, and that's when the phone call rings in Michael's office, and that's when you get fined. Be nice.
Yes. I engage every conversation in the spirit of contribution, and people are happy to be in a relationship with us. So everything that I do is to help. I come from a place of help. I'm offering my help. How can I help you? I have all these things at my disposal to help you. How can I be of help to you? I'm not saying, will you work with me? No. Do you have any real estate plans this year? Is there anything I can help you with? Call me. I want to be your call. I want to be your call. When you have a need, I want to be that call. Great success, don't forget that. Daily success. And then next Monday, we're gonna be get to the close. So that's it for today. And anyone who wants, if you want to subscribe to the do not call list, if you want to have access to that database, just let me know and I can give you the instructions to have access to that. That's it. Have a great Monday. Happy Monday, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in.
AJ, can I ask you, what is your,
Thank you.
have you ever used the strategy